Hello, today we're going to review how in SafeOne we can monitor any type of network. It can be on-prem or also can be in the cloud. It can be in multiple clouds, it can be in multiple regions, allowing you to have all the data in a single platform, in a single report. So the demo review is that we're going to show how SafeOne NPM can monitor any network, either on-prem, a private cloud or public cloud, giving you a single pane of glass with all the information that you need from the network. The story behind this demo is that CloudOps needs to run constant reports with the status of the cloud networks, as well as other cloud entities such as instances, worklogs, etc. It takes very long for them to run separate reports for each cloud, for each region, and so on, and to extract the data they need and collect it into a single report. NetOps also are having problems getting access to that data because they don't have access or easy access to these cloud environments. And this is impacted on their ability to troubleshoot network problems. Also, there are some problems with the gateways from different providers. However, when they review individually the metrics on each of the cloud management solutions, they cannot find the problem. So it looks like everything is correct on the cloud providers. However, they're still having problems. So they need to compare and have a view from a different point of view. This demonstration we're going to show three different types of cloud. We're going to show AWS that is supported out of the box with the NMS. We're going to show IBM Cloud that we are monitoring using our automation capabilities. We have created a workflow that allows us to connect to the APIs and collect the data, and something similar for OpenShift. So you can see we can have a mix of on-prem, public cloud, private cloud. It doesn't matter where the data comes from. It doesn't matter how you're using the cloud. SafeOne can collect the data from anywhere and get that information. So let's jump into the report. So what we're going to do is go to the hybrid, if I know how to spell it, hybrid multi-cloud report. And here, first of all, you can see a view of the main KPIs that we're getting from our cloud environments, either on-prem or in the cloud. And you can see here that we're making a lot of data, things like gateways, VPN connections, data links, load balancers, and so on. The good thing is that we can create filters based on the cloud that we want to monitor. For example, I only want to monitor IBM Cloud gateways. So you come here, you select what you want to show, and you can see the information. Or for example, no, what I want to show is only AWS NAT gateways. You can come here and it creates the filter. So as you can see, we can show everything we want. We can filter on the any kind of cloud that you want to display. Or if you want to display everything in a single cloud, as we can see here, is doable. And actually here is telling you which are the clouds that you're using. It can be from different regions. It can be from different clouds. If you can have the information, in this case, we're showing only the cloud. We could also show the region that is being used. What other data can we get from here? Well, as mentioned, we can go, for example, VPN connections. At the moment, we don't have any traffic. However, the status is up, which is great. We can see things like direct links. As you can see here, the direct links are all of them down. That's why there is no errors. And you can see here, there is no traffic. At the moment, we have them shut down. We can see the power levels as well. There is a lot of information that we can have from all these different entities. Or for example, if we go to the load balancers, you can see at the moment the load balancers we have only on the IBM Cloud. You can see that we don't have too many active connections, and this is the throughput. So everything that is important, we can get the data from here. Not only from the network resources that we can have from the clouds, also from the instances or even workloads. So for example, if we go to CPU, you will see that we can see all the different clouds. We can see AWS, IBM, or even OpenShift. And what is very interesting, we have normalized the data. So we have different metrics for CPU, for memory, for traffic, for lots of different resources. We have normalized the data. So you can have a single report showing you, regardless of the cloud, the metric. And you can see here the actual metrics, and you can see here for the containers how much data we are consuming. But one of the good things that we have in SafeOne is not only that we can collect all this data from different clouds and different regions and keep it in a single tool, also is that we analyze the data. So for example, I can see here that this instance, actually, if we select it this way, you can see that it's going up and down. So what's happening here? Is this normal? I can see that normally is quite high. So what's going on? Well, one of the good things that we have in SafeOne is that we can analyze the data. So let's go and analyze the data. And what I can see here is like, look, actually, this looks like this is kind of not normal. Sometimes it can happen that it goes down, but normally the dotted line that is the normal behavior should tell me that, or is telling me that it should be more or less like this. So it looks like this is not normal. This is very interesting because this is giving me information about normal behavior. In this case, is that it's not abnormally high, but is abnormally low, which possibly is a good thing. I don't know. But I would like to have more analytics to understand better what's going on here. So instead of checking against normal behavior, I'm going to compare with shorter periods of time. So I'm going to go to time over time and compare, for example, with last week that I have here. So here, yeah, you can see that the solid line is the last 24 hours. The dotted line is the average from last week. Yeah, and you can see that, look, it looks like it happened at a different time. So I guess that this kind of thing of dropping below 50% or around 50% is something normal. It happened at different times, but it's something normal. How can I see it better? Well, let's go to another way of analyzing the data. Let's go to the data analytics. Let's change to the last 7 days. And yeah, I can see that sometimes it happens. Actually, it looks like it goes through a cycle of 18 hours, 19 hours, sometimes less, but it looks like there is a pattern. And actually this pattern is telling me that, look, this is something normal. After a few hours, 18 hours, 20 hours, it will kind of relax for half an hour and go back again. This is very interesting because with these reports, it makes it easier for me to understand what's going on with the data. And yes, this data is data that comes from the cloud. It could be any other data as well. But now, data that comes from the cloud, I have the ability to analyze it. And not only analyze it in terms of what happened in the past, also what will happen in the future. One of the problems that we have with the cloud management solutions is that you store very short periods of time. So I think it's 2 weeks, and then you have to move it to another bucket. It's very, very expensive. Actually, we've done some calculations that in SafeOne, we are around 70% cheaper in terms of keeping the data, the performance data collected from the cloud. So we are cheaper in terms of storing that data, because it can become very, very expensive to keep that data in the cloud. And you cannot do this kind of long-term projections because you lack of the historical data. As you can see here, everything looks quite stable. So you have these up and downs, but in the long term, everything looks like it's going to be, maybe it's growing a little bit, but very, very little bit. And we have other ways to analyze the data. But these analytics are very, very important because this will allow you to understand much, much better and in a shorter period of time what's going on. So it will give you the insights that you need to fix any potential problem that we have on the network. Okay, let's go back to the report. And what else can we show here? Well, the thing is that all these analytics can happen on any of the other metrics as well. For example, we can go, I know, network interfaces. As you can see here, everything is normalized. You can see AWS, IBM, OpenShift, different regions all together creating the reports. And actually, you can see that this green light here is the one that is having more. If I manage to click here, more traffic. Let's see if I can find it. It's another one. Anyway, you can see that we can here see all the information that we want. Or for example, let's go to volumes. In volumes, let's have a look, for example, to this. This is an interesting one. Let's go to this one here. And this one, we can see that sometimes we have some spikes. How can we see if these spikes are related to any other metric? Well, one of the things that we have is that, yes, we can analyze the data. You can go to get this data and you want to analyze it to see if it's normal or not. And you will see that actually, yes, these spikes are normal. Actually, let's change to the last 7 days. And you can see that, yeah, you can see some normal spikes. But how are they correlated with other metrics? Let me go back again. And instead of analyzing that data, let's correlate data. One of the good things is that once we have all this data in Ceph1, we can visually correlate any metric together. So for example, if from the same device, I want to see if the network interface is having something to related with this, for example, I can select the network interface. I can see, for example, packets received and the writes that we have on the volume. And let's see if there is any correlation. As you can see here, it looks like, for example, in this case, there is no correlation. Yeah, so it looks like there is nothing very, very interesting. Oh, for example, here, yes. Here we can see there is a small correlation. So this ability to correlate data, it could be from different clouds, from different entities, from the same entity, from the same objects, different kind of metrics. This ability to correlate data together will help you to understand this root cause analysis that we're doing. And again, from here, for example, you want to see, okay, is this normal? You can always go analyze the metric, understand normal behavior, understand, for example, you can see that it can go up and down quite a lot. And actually, this time of the day, possibly it's around midnight, is normal that we run some kind of test on this VM, and that's why it has more traffic. So all this information, for example, if we let's the last 7 days, you can see that, yeah, every day except this day, which is interesting, but the rest of the days, we always have more traffic generated at this time. So all this information is always very, very interesting. Help us to understand better what's going on the net. Finally, something very interesting is that if you want to get more information from any of these other entities, for example, we go to the NAT gateways and say, look, I can see that we have a NAT gateway here, and I want to get more information about this NAT gateway. You can just click, and for example, here you can see that you can go to one of the out-of-the-box reports that shows you more detailed information about the NAT gateways. So let's click here. And you can see that at the moment there is no alert. You can see all the information regarding the region, the account, status, and lots of the other information, as well as traffic, connection counts, everything that is relevant. You can get it from here. You can see we're getting some interesting data from here. If it's not a NAT gateway, let's say that is a transit gateway, it's very similar. When you click, for example, in a transit gateway, let's say this one, you don't see the option of NAT gateway because Ceph1 understands that this is a different type of entity. So now give you the option to go to the other option, to the transit gateway. And again, here you can see all the information. You can see the autonomous system number. You can see the description. And in this case, we don't have data. It's basically down, but you could see the information here as well. And this happens with any of the other options. For example, let's go to Direct Connects. I don't think we have traffic on the Direct Connects, but it would be a similar situation where if you want to get more specific information from the Direct Connects, you have the option to drill down and have this information. So when you install the solution for some of the clouds, it comes with out-of-the-box reports. We can leverage those reports to get more information, more detailed information when you drill down on those reports. For example, we don't have traffic, but you can see the optimal performance. You can see the connection state that we saw that is down. Everything that is relevant, everything that we're collecting from this entity will be displayed. So basically, as you can see here, with Ceph, what we're mentioning to do, actually, let me go to this one, is collecting data from different clouds, on-prem, private cloud, public cloud, different regions, everything into a single tool. That allows us to be able to correlate faster and be able to reduce the time that it takes to you to go from one report to another to find the issues. Everything consolidated. We can keep data for longer retention periods and in a much cheaper way, around 70% cost, I think, reduction if we compare with AWS. And with our analytics and with flexible reporting, we can make the life of the people consuming the data much, much easier. Telling them what is normal, what is not normal, originating alerts when there are anomalies, understanding and digesting the data for you, so it's easier to understand what's going on. And with the flexible reporting, it's easier to go, drill down, compare, analyze data on the fly. So basically, we can reduce the time it takes to understand issues and performance problems on the network. And this is something very, very important. This platform is not only a cloud platform, you can monitor the rest of the network as well. So if you want to see how a connection from a gateway from the cloud is connected to a CSR that is on-prem, you can see the connections because you will be able to correlate the data, visually correlating in CF1, creating a report, and see the traffic in and the traffic out from these devices and make sure that there is no traffic lost on the internet between these two different entities. So the ability to have all the information in a single tool is very, very, very important. So this is basically what I wanted to talk about. I hope that you guys like it and see you next time. Thank you.